All right, guys. Welcome in another episode of our podcast with about Quake. And today we're gonna do something a little bit different. It's gonna be as usual, like 25, 45 minutes, so it's like interesting for you to listen to or to watch to. Today, I came up with this idea today, like few hours ago. I was like thinking like what do I want to speak about? Because I want to do a podcast which is interesting for me as well. So I invite players and I already got in my mind what I want to speak about with them. Like for example with series, I want to speak about aiming, with other guys about something else, like everybody is specific. And I also want to make it like good experience for me because it's like super interesting for me to speak about Quake and everything around that. And I thought that it would be really, really good to get some knowledge or like a point of view of defense in this case, and like how is he dealing with Quake, with how did he came up with like Dragonborn Esports organization, and how did he end up with like Quake players in it. So welcome, and first of all, I just wanted to like the first question I wanted to ask you is like, how did you came with the idea of like creating Dragonborn Esport, and do you run it, you run it with someone, right? You are not running it on your own. There is also someone helping you with that, right? As far as I know.
At the moment, no. Actually, I didn't create the org. It was created by someone else,
Hmm.
someone I used to work with her for a long time. She was a former professional Counter-Strike
Hmm.
player, and she created the organization in 2017. But
All right.
I decided to create the Quake department of the
Hmm.
organization in early 2021. So the agreement that I had with her is that I had free hands with everything. Like she doesn't help me with anything because I want to do it by myself.
Hmm.
Also because she was interested in Counter Strike and other things, and I was kind of tired of Counter Strike because I'd been working with it for a long time. So I wanted to try something new, and that's when I started with Quake. And yeah, that's how it all started basically.
Hmm.
I just got an idea, and I just needed an organization behind me. It's
Hmm.
you can't do it without an organization.
Okay, so it's my bad. I still thought that you are guys like running it together, so that's why I said that. Also, like whenever I speak with any owners of organizations or anyone who's like had experience with running like org, the most actually difficult is to have like to run a CS team, because it's like five guys. Usually the same problems appear in every single team. So you are starting with five guys. You think it has some potential, and guys are playing. Then you, as an org like owner, you are not really spending 24/7 with them. You are not really on TeamSpeak all the time on like screams, and you are not trying to analyze. Then you find out some problems, that this guy doesn't like this guy, or this guy thinks that this guy is bad, or like this guy is toxic, and it goes on, and like changes are appearing. And then you also don't know how to deal with that, if you should like take a part in choosing another player, like to to fill the team, or like you should trust your players that they're gonna change good. So how was your experience like with CS in general? You think it was super hard to like build anything?
Yeah, it was. We were struggling a lot actually. I think in 1 year we had 3 or 4 different lineups, and
Hmm.
we had a lot of young players. And yeah, I mean, you understand it, and I think people listening also understand that young players are always the hardest. They're like, because they
Hmm.
always want different things and they have really high ambitions. And also when you're young, it's like your feelings are all over the place. Sometimes you can, like one day you wanna be the best, and then another day you just want to do something else. And
Yeah.
and so we did struggle a lot, and I think that's one of the reasons why I kind of gave up on it actually, because
Hmm.
the whole team aspect, it was really fun, at times, because when it actually worked, it's fantastic. That's why I still love Counter Strike. When the team dynamic works, it's an amazing thing. But yeah, there is a lot of struggle, absolutely. And it's
Yeah.
not it's not just us. It's like every organization, as you say, they all struggle
Hmm.
all the time.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's like it happens everywhere on tier one team, within
Yeah.
tier one teams, and down below everywhere. It's just same problems all over again. I heard it so many times. That's why I like I'm always respecting teams who manage to somehow like go on top again and again, like even after changing lineups. It's super difficult. I can see that also like in Team Endpoint. It's like, there's like a lot of things going on. So and how did you become familiar with Quake? Did you play like any like older version of Quakes, like Quake Live, or did you watch it, or like did you how did you find out about Quake, like in general, like from the very beginning?
Um, Actually, in I think it was really late. Like I was never
Hmm.
involved in Quake until 2018 or something, late 2018. That's when I started
Hmm.
playing Quake 2, actually. Uh,
Whoa.
it was on sale on Steam, and I just bought it, and I really liked it, and I started playing it so much. They still had an active player base, and I was like
Hmm.
playing deathmatch, and they also had this like dual league. I think they
Hmm.
still have it,
Hmm.
with a bunch of veterans who still play, and yeah, that's how I got into Quake, and then I really liked the aspect of it, so I started watching more and more Quake. Obviously, there's not a lot of Quake 2 competition, but I really grew fond of Quake 3. I just loved everything about the game, like the sounds, the engine, just everything, and obviously Quake Live is very similar. So I watched so much Quake Live and Quake 3 demos,
Hmm.
and I just did that on the side. Like even I was shifting back to Counter Strike a lot, but I just always watched the demos on YouTube. I just really loved watching the matches and like with the commentary and everything.
Hmm.
There was something about it that was just fantastic. So that's how I got into it in the first place.
That's quite surprising. Like a lot of people say that they started with Quake 3, Quake Live, more likely, and you kind of started with Quake 2. Like
Yeah.
there's still going on some like show matches like between EU and NA. There's a lot of CTF going on, I think. There's many old school players, as you said, like super old, even older than Quake Champions players and Quake 3 players. It's kind of amazing. This is also kind of like a very interesting subject for me, like how Quake scene kind of split, because you got a bunch of players playing like Quake 3, Quake 2, then you got some people playing only Quake World, and then you got some people playing only CPMA, like Clan Arena in Quake 3 or something, or Quake Live, and then you got like diabolical players because diabolical is very like similar, and then you got Quake Champions. Like I'm just curious, like what will happen if you like kind of like put them all together to one game, but it's like I think we will never find out. But anyway, and then like so then you kind of realize that Quake Pro League is happening, right? Because like Quake Pro League started 2019, and you probably started to like see it on Twitch from time to time, right?
Yeah, I was seeing Quake Champions a lot from the start, like from 2018 and
Hmm.
forward, but I wasn't really paying any attention to it actually. I didn't
Hmm.
really like it at first. I didn't like the graphics and stuff. I thought it was like too fancy and too
Yeah.
like champions ability stuff like that. I liked how raw Quake 3 and Quake Live and that was like it didn't matter what champion you were. It was the same mechanics, It was just purely up to how good you were with the weapons and stuff.
Hmm.
Didn't have anything to do with abilities, but uh, I didn't really pay any attention to Quake Champions until I realized that that was the only game that still had a decent competitive scene, and that was in 2021, as I said. That's when I was
Hmm.
like uh, already thinking about starting uh,
Hmm.
my own organization and
Hmm.
running it. So yeah, basically Quake Champions. It was in early 2020 2021.
Hmm. And in general, now not speaking only about CS or Quake, like this is another like kind of hard subject, like running organization. It's also super hard, right? Because like you're getting like idea of like running organization, and you're like, okay, it's gonna. Because I thought about it many times too, and I spoke about it with Cypher, and we thought that we know everything, because like we went through so many organization, we seen like how it's kind of built from the kitchen and everything. But then when you want to try to build something on your own, you realize that it's super hard. First of all, you always need some financial like support, and usually it's like your own pocket in the beginning, because like in
Yeah.
the beginning you cannot really like get sponsors on or anything. So like firstly you invest in your own money, your own work, your own like time and everything, efforts. Then you get in players, you're trying to get something out of it, and then you're trying to create some like project and like show to sponsors like what you are capable of in case of numbers and like visibility for them and things like this. Can you like maybe give us some details like how when you started, what was your main goal? Like how did you try to get a sponsor, or like is it like super hard? Because I also read some like statistics, and I think in 2017 or 18, only one organization like came like really close to zero within like the budget like which they spent and they make like and I think it was Navi back in the day. So it's like it shows how hard it's like to make profit from like esports like in case of organizations.
Yeah, yeah, I totally agree. I mean, it's a discussion that's been on for a long time, and I think about it all the time. Like, how the hell do they make money? And it's hard. I mean, to answer your first question, when I started, it was like I didn't really have any goals of making any money. I just wanted to start somewhere and like, because obviously, usually you start somewhere and then the snowball starts
Yeah.
rolling, and then you just have to start. You can't go in from the beginning and have like super high ambitions that we're gonna have
Hmm.
4 different sponsors, or we're gonna be sponsored by big websites and stuff. You just need to like start somewhere. So it was just an investment for me. I just started. I was like paying CNC out of my own pocket. I mean, I'm still paying
Hmm.
Dramis out of my own pocket because yeah, so if we fast forward to today, nothing has really
Hmm.
happened in terms of sponsorship and stuff because it's literally impossible to find any
Hmm.
sponsor that wants to give you, at least for me, in my experience, in Quake, it's like super hard to find a
Hmm.
sponsor that wants to financially support you. Like I can find a sponsor that gives us maybe energy drinks or free shirts or
Hmm.
something like that. That's fine. With the viewership that we have, that works. But
Hmm.
financial, that's next to impossible.
Yeah. Do you think it was easier maybe when there was like big boom on esport like in 2014, 15? For me it feels like some organization were just getting money out of the blue back then, and too
I
much
think,
definitely.
I mean, I don't know, honestly. I feel like now there's probably more money in esports now, but that's like because you see all these big organizations. I think the main like let's say NIP
Hmm.
or Virtus Pro or
Hmm.
yeah, Liquid or any of these, like I think the main income from them is like from their biggest sponsors, which is like Liquid is sponsored by like Coinbase or something like that, like a
Hmm.
really big crypto website, and I think NIP was sponsored by Betway for a long time.
Hmm.
I'm not an expert, but I think that a lot of money comes from like betting and stuff because they're
Hmm.
sponsored by these really big websites. But
Hmm.
actually, I kind of forgot what your question was, but
Well, I said
yeah.
that in my opinion, like it was super easy to get money back in like 2015, 16 when
Oh, really?
everything. 'Cause it just in my opinion, because like when I looked at this sport, it was like 2014, 15, 16 was at the highest. Like you had like the biggest amounts. I'm not talking about Dota 2, for example, the
Yeah.
international, because it's still like huge. But like in case of CS, like there was a lot of majors. Then we kind of slowed down in 2018. Then obviously, like because of other reasons in 2019, it kind of got like stopped. I just think it was much easier to get some money back then, and maybe it's like some companies were more willing to invest and see if they can get something out of it. Like same like NBA players invested in like
Yeah.
organizations in Overwatch and like in Overwatch League and everything. So I think it's getting harder now, and maybe the budget is slightly like lesser now. It's like slightly less than it was before, but it doesn't matter. Like also what is interesting, like as you said, like all those betting sites, it's like if we talk about NIP, it's also kind of weird because like Valve tries to like fight with like gambling and with like betting and like with all this like fake bets, and this is kind of huge problem in CS, like people throwing for money and like they setting up matches. Oh, that's kind of like super interesting question for me. Did you ever like had like any situation where you had to kick some player, or you had like or you were suspecting that someone is maybe trying to like gain money in that way, that betting like against like themselves, or like, or you always had trustful people? But it happened even on tier 1 level, so I think it happens everywhere basically in CS from time to time.
Mm, Yeah, it happens, and it happens. A lot of it never comes to the surface, I
Hmm.
think, because it's really it's kind of simple to hide it. Like I think all of these situations when it's always come out that at least big news like with Cloud9 for
Yeah,
example, or not Cloud9, but it was what was it? It was like I Buy Power back
yeah,
in 2015 or something. Like somebody just had to snitch, and
yeah.
that's why it didn't work. And I think, yeah, like I said, I think a lot of it is still under the surface. But to answer your question, we never personally experienced anything like that. But we did
Hmm.
experience, I guess, players like kind of trolling purposely to just
Hmm.
like damage the organization, I guess. But
Whoa.
that's not for financial gain, but it was more like because they were kids, they were like 16 years old, and they were mad at something. Like it was like they were mad at internal
Hmm.
stuff in the team. It wasn't the organization because me and Cecilia, the
Yeah,
CEO, we were working our asses off, and it was just that they were mad at each other, so they started
yeah,
trolling purposely. So it's kids. What can you do?
yeah. And how long did you like work with CS? For how long did you work with CS players?
Actually, it wasn't that long because I competed myself in Counter Strike, not on a super high level, but I played like I played on like big platforms and stuff
Hmm.
with the best Swedish players. We were playing gathers and stuff. I was doing
Like you
that
were playing
until
like Faceit and stuff, or
yeah, not face it, not so much. There was a Swedish, there is still a Swedish site that's called Esportal, which is like all the top
hmm.
Swedish. It's like a basically all the Swedes play there, and all the top Swedes are playing there. And I was playing
Hmm.
gathers with a lot of professionals and stuff, so it was pretty funny. But that was what I was doing, and then in 2019, late 2019, I decided to like stop playing, and
Hmm.
that's when I started. That's when I first Dragonborn was like looking for a general manager or something, and I just
Hmm.
joined, and then I worked
All right.
for that with that for a year, just for a
Okay.
year, and then I stopped
And
again.
then basically you came up with CNZ and Dramis. You signed them. I think you signed them almost at the same time, or one by one, or how I
No,
don't
no, no,
remember exactly, but I think first there was Dramis, right?
no. It was CNC first.
Jesus, I
I
confused it
signed
so
him.
hard.
Oh, no problem. I signed CNC in March
Hmm.
2021. It was like in the start of season two Quake Pro League, like the
Yeah,
second
yeah,
stage,
yeah.
and then I didn't sign Dramis until September. It was like right before we got a
Iron
hunch of Iron Fist.
Iron
So
Fist, yeah, yeah.
yeah, so and then yeah, so it was
That's
like that.
that was super nice, I remember, because like you signed Dramis right before Iron Fist, and you still had to fly him uh, from like US to Europe, so it was kind
Yeah,
of very expensive trip, and like that what amazed me like really the most in the beginning, that you just signed him right before Iron Fist, you straight away sent him there, and you had belief, and like that was nice to see that you are supporting them, you are with them on the tournaments, and like and you are there with them. So you took it kind of personally, I think, right? But that's what also like shows how good of an owner or like manager you are. I remember like I always had like this biggest like relationship with people who I knew like truly that they are cheering for me and helping like no matter what is going on. And this is a very important feeling for players, that they are always supported like no matter like if it's going super bad or super good, it's like you always kind of there, you know.
yeah. I totally agree. I think that it's like it's an important part, and I think if you look at the most of the top players, they don't really have a manager going with them. I think I was the only manager on in Bucharest, and I was like the only manager in London, and I was the only manager at Barcelona. It was like no one really has a manager that goes with them, and that's probably for financial reasons and stuff. But still, obviously, you and everyone else like they might have someone else who supports them like really
Mhm,
closely. But yeah, I do think that it matters that you can have someone with you on the trip that make sure you're always 100%. Like if you need something, they can go and get it for you, so you don't have to. You can
mhm,
focus on your game, and I mean that's my job after all. Like Dramis is supposed to play, that's his job, and my job is to make sure that he can play and that he can perform.
Yeah.
That's how it is.
Yeah, I remember Pete came to Iron Fist actually with me and spent all this tournament
Oh
together
yeah,
with
yeah,
me.
yeah,
So
yeah,
it was super cool experience
yeah.
for me as well. But in general, even if you are like, like let's say there are some organizations where they are sending the player to the tournament and they don't really care what's going on there. And even if you are not there like physically, like you kind of feel like, for example, like with Pete, I kind of feel that he follows every time I play, he follows. He already knows who I'm playing, like he's like into it. Like you can see like the passion in just like in this guy. Like he has like two monitors, for example. Here is like Rocket League guys playing. Here is like QPL, and he's like following everything. Even like for example, guys, when you are watching those podcasts, like the timestamps are like made by like Pete, by the way. So
Oh
it's like shout outs to him for that. But yeah, but I think it's super important. And like so first time you met them on Iron Fist in real life, right? Like both CNZ
yep,
and
that was the
Dramis.
first time. Yeah,
And
yeah.
how was it? Like you guys like met in like London, you picked them up from airport, or you met in some like accommodation, or like how did it look like?
Oh man, this is an interesting story. I was hoping you were gonna ask because CNC and I we didn't know that we were both gonna fly from Frankfurt because
Oh.
there were no direct flights because we were going to London City Airport, which is like a
Mhm.
small airport. So we didn't know that we were taking the same flight from Frankfurt. So I was like really rushing to get to my flight, and I just go. And Frankfurt is a big airport, so they have
Yeah,
these
yeah.
buses. So I just jumped into the bus and I sat down, like, oh yeah, I made it, and then someone is speaking Russian on the phone right next to me,
Mhm.
and like I was like recognizing the voice, and I'm
Mhm.
looking over, and that's fucking CNC. And
Jesus.
I wait until he finishes his call, and then I just pat him on the shoulder. I'm like, "Hey, Kirill," and he goes, "Wow!" And then we on the
That's
flight, yeah,
super great like
together.
coincidence,
It is,
basically.
yeah. It's funny. And then yeah, Dramis came afterwards. He came a little later, so me and CNC actually shared some. Like we went to go and eat lunch together and stuff
Hmm.
because we arrived already at like 11 p.m.
Hmm.
But it was a really nice experience. It was. I'm gonna be honest. Like the first, because it was 6 months. It was like I had CNC for like 7 8 months before
Yeah.
Iron Fist, and it was like some in the, it was like sometimes it was like, why did I actually do this? It was like
Hmm.
because I never met him. It felt weird
Yeah.
to just send him money every month and stuff. But
Yeah.
as soon as I met them, it was a completely different
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah.
It just made it worth it.
Yeah.
So
It's a game changer. So I think it feels kind of like it feels kind of sad that you had to let him go right after this season.
yeah, yeah, it's
Yeah.
sad. Yeah, absolutely. But it's also, it's just how it is. Like,
Yeah, it is the way it
yeah,
is. I think I spoke with him like a lot after like QuakeCon and we were speaking and everything. He was like upset in some way that he dropped out from the league, but I think he kind of it felt like he's dealing with it like all right. It didn't feel like it's the end of the world for him. So at least that's a good thing. And I don't know, like he's gonna try to get into the league again probably, right?
yeah. I think he is. Yeah, I think he and to what you say, I think he handled it really nicely. He
Hmm.
was like he was really frustrated at first, I remember,
Hmm.
but then yeah, he really dealt with it like an adult and just didn't take it out on anyone and
Hmm.
stuff. So and then when we went to Barcelona, like I could kind of feel like he was a little demotivated. I guess he had basically hadn't touched the game and
Hmm.
stuff since Bucharest, but yeah, I think he will come back absolutely. I think if there's another season and stuff, he's gonna try to qualify
That's what
absolutely.
also amazed me that you still had him go to Barcelona for the tournament, even though he dropped out from the league, and you guys kind of knew that it's slowly like you guys splitting like
Yeah.
ways. You still like flew him to the Barcelona. How was Barcelona? I decided to just not go there because I don't know why. I regret it. Like if there is gonna be KeenCon like second like edition, I'm definitely gonna go. But I was kind of like also I was a bit sad about my performance on QuakeCon and things like this, and I was like, no, I just don't want to go to Barcelona. How was it?
It was fantastic actually. I think I said it before. It was probably one of the best events I've been to, and it was just like the mood over everywhere. It was just fantastic. They
Mhm.
had a lot of great staff. Like if we take like other tournaments that I've been to, there's usually just like a one or two people that you can talk to that are
Hmm.
staff. But here there was like five, six different people, and they all were really helpful, and they were like running around making sure everyone
Hmm.
was feeling good. And I think also what made the event so good is that it was more like an old school LAN, more like a community. It was
Hmm.
open for everyone, so there was a bunch of Spanish players that no one like I didn't know who they were, and Dramis and CNC they had no idea who they were, and there
Hmm.
were even people from outside Spain, like JSK from France and like some German guys and
Yeah,
stuff. It just really came back to this old school feeling that everyone gathered at a LAN, and we had six pros, and then we had like someone who was like a beginner, who just decided to sign
yeah,
up because it was fun, and then it ranged all the way to like from beginner to pro, and then that they can meet and clash like that and just spend time together, sit in the couch and watch the
yeah.
games. I think
That's amazing.
that's amazing. Yeah.
Also, the production was super good. I didn't expect that, but
Yeah.
on stream it looked like they had like huge. It felt like huge stage, and it was like the lights were like perfect, and cameras, and people who work with like cameras and everything. It was like the production was super good. It's like you can make such production and easily like produce like any big event, no problem.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's why I hope they will make another one this year,
Yeah.
because it was absolutely fantastic. And with that kind of production, excuse me, with that kind of production and like the prestige that was on, also with the players that were there, it didn't matter that it was just 1,500
Yeah.
euro prize pool. Like it, people were there for the experience, and that
And
was
as I said,
it.
on
Yeah,
stream it looked like it's some kind of big finals or something. Like
yeah,
it,
yeah,
it really felt like that. Speaking about that, like you guys, you are also organizing and sponsoring some tournaments because you are making a lot of like online tournaments. Lately, like we participated in your 2v2 tournament, and before that you had like also like 1v1 world champion, and
yeah.
you had also something else. I didn't, I think I didn't participate in the previous ones, but like. How where this like it's the whole prize pool like came from like basically your private income and some donations, right? As far as I know, or
Yeah, yeah. For the one last year, it
hmm
was $1,000 that I put into it, and then it
hmm
was 120 in donations. And then
hmm
this year it was $1,000 again from me, and then it was I think like 560 or
yeah.
something in donations. So I was amazed by how much it was. Yeah, but yeah, it's uh, it's mainly my own pocket money basically. But
For
yeah,
for
but
an online tournament that was super good like prize pool, honestly.
yeah, I think so too. I think anything over 1,000 is like that adds a certain prestige to it, and
Yeah,
also
yeah,
I think also what matters is how you advertise it, and how you
hmm
like the hype that you build around it. I
yeah,
think is also important.
yeah.
Yeah.
Did you like 1v1 or 2v2 more out of your
Oh
like
man,
two tournaments?
that's an impossible question to
Hmm.
answer actually, but 2v2 was just fantastic to see, and it just brought forward this element that we haven't seen in a long time.
Hmm.
Sometimes when I look back on like 2018, which was the year of 2v2
Yeah.
in Quake, I was like, I really wish I was around back then, because
Hmm.
it is different, and it's nice to like see when that players like they actually sit next to each other and communicate, just
Yeah.
like because I really loved that aspect from team games, the
Hmm.
whole communicating bit, and if you watch like Rafa stream when he's playing 2v2, he's
Hmm.
like constantly talking, and it's like
Yeah.
just so amazing to see it. So I loved seeing it, honestly, and I think the community also liked it, because I got so many positive, like a lot more positive response this year than I did last year. But
Hmm.
yeah, 1v1 always has a charm as well, of course. It's like that's
Hmm.
that's what Quake is essentially about, that 1v1
Hmm.
stuff, I guess.
So I was thinking lately as well, like we got QPL season, and it's gonna be like online stages and like finals on QuakeCon and etc. Uh, and we are Quake is open for third companies, so like anybody can organize a LAN tournament. I think they are providing LAN server. They did for KeenCon and the QuachiCon in Australia at least. So I think they are open for everyone. We know that KeenCon wants to like do another edition. This is what Maxter told me, and Sombra, I think it's not a big secret. Like Iron Fist was planning like second edition. Like I spoke some with Endpoint and Pete, and he kind of also is like keen to do something like for Quake, organize maybe something similar to like Iron Fist. So we're talking about Lance, like, and I was thinking like, what if we, for example, all like together do something? For example, KingCon, like KingCon has like great place in Barcelona. They had like great production team. I think Endpoint now is building huge facility in Sheffield. Like it's really big with like and it's gonna be able to like get teams and organize tournaments with production with everything. So we got already two places, you know. Then like you guys also have like you also have like experience with doing something like if we all like raise some donations, right? Three parties and like if we all try to get sponsors, I think we could actually organize something huge, honestly. Maybe even look, even Quachi, like if he would like to join, like maybe something like that. Or you think like gathering all of those parties, it's like it's gonna be very difficult to like cooperate and like maybe those organizations or people or they not gonna get as much as if they will do that like separately. Like, what do you think about such idea?
Very, very interesting question and very complex actually. I think essentially, I mean, at first, like when you first approach the question, it's a super good idea
Hmm.
to like mash everything together because obviously like you could get good parts out of everything and like
Hmm.
everyone has something to offer and then you could mash everything together. Um, I just don't know how it would work, I guess, because everyone has like their own ways of doing it, like they want to
Hmm.
do it their own way. And I think when it comes to producing an event, when you have an organizer like KeenCon, for example, it's like they are extremely ambitious, like
Hmm.
in themselves, and they want to do it. Uh, they have like a like Jordy, for example, Sombra. He has an image in his head, like this is how I want it to be,
Hmm.
you know. And yeah, honestly, it's a hard question.
You know, I
I
already
can.
I already spoke with Sombra about that. Straight away, I came to him and I told him, man, if you
Okay.
want to like keep like investing in Quake and doing like tournaments, because he told me that because lately we played some 2v2 like against him and Maxer and like we kind of spoke like a bit more. And he seems like he wants to invest more and he wants to do something bigger. He even was thinking about maybe some league going on, like 2v2 league or anything, like something similar to QPL, like raising some more money. And I was like, man, what if we like, gather our power? I know like Pete also wants to do something like, together it's always easier. It's gonna be easier to get sponsors. Like you got two like companies investing. Like you got like two places. Maybe we can get some like league with like 3, 4 stops. Let's say Barcelona, like Sheffield, London, and somewhere else. It's like I think if there's like more people involved and if we all can like somehow like speak like correctly with each other and get some like points, I think we could do something huge actually.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're right. I think it would work. Yeah, it's just like I said in the beginning, you combine everything together.
Hmm.
Like Pete is good at something, you know, and Sombra is good at something else, and then
Hmm.
but yeah, it would make it a lot easier to like find sponsors and stuff, which is essentially the main thing that you want when you run an event. You want to
Hmm.
have like a sponsor,
Hmm.
so that you can get the a decent prize pool. Like you
Hmm.
can raise money as well, but it's
Hmm.
always like that sponsor or someone needs to come in with a big investment.
Hmm.
And I think
Same, yeah,
yeah,
same like Iron Fist. They kind of got like what 20K, and it was
yeah,
already
yeah,
huge. It was already huge.
yeah.
It made
It's
like
enough.
everyone come. Like if Rafa like came from USA for that, and Liquid sent him there, it means it's like worth it. So even something like that, it's already huge, and it's gonna like bring a lot of attention. And if you got budget like this, and with like 3, 4 like companies or people, I think it's possible to get sponsors and possible to raise such funds if we prepare really good and like if we got places where we can do it without renting like offices, without like speaking with someone who has office. It's already a
Yeah,
big
that's true.
plus. And if we got like 20 50K, we can easily do like some like small league like going on like on a site of QPL, and it will be super great, and it will bring a lot of like viewers. I think it will basically like pull out the same numbers as QPL is pulling off because like it's
Yeah.
like same kind of community and things. Anyway, going back to the Quake players because like now it's like I'm dreaming in my head to like have like
Mhm.
another QPL going on. So like as soon as you let off CNZ, did ever such idea cross your mind that maybe you want to sign another second player next to Dramis now who is in like in QPL at the moment or? You
Oh yeah,
didn't
yeah,
even
yeah.
think about. You did.
Oh yes, yes, absolutely. I was thinking about it a lot.
Especially that you got your fellow man in league now. Talks.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I was actually speaking to Talks. I
Hmm.
mean, way back actually.
Hmm.
I think before I signed Dramis, I spoke to Talks, and I were kind of just like pitching the idea for him, and he said
Hmm.
he said he was slightly interested, but we were gonna wait until
Hmm.
after QuakeCon or something, and then it just kind of disappeared out of nowhere. But
Hmm.
yeah, to answer your question, yes, I've been thinking about it, but the problem is always the problem has been the financial part actually, because
Hmm.
prices have gone up. Like there's a crazy inflation, and like
Yeah.
electricity prices have gone up, and because I'm basically funding everything by myself,
Hmm.
I need to be able to live comfortably as well, and I need to also be able to like accumulate money so that we can
Hmm.
go to trips, because the trips
Yeah.
that's the hardest thing to like giving someone a monthly salary is one thing, but also like
Hmm.
having money to actually go to a trip and to pay for everything. It's not
Yeah.
I'm paying for everything. Like I'm paying for the flight, the hotel, taxi, not
Hmm.
food, I mean, but
Hmm.
all the accommodation, and
Hmm.
that's what costs a lot. So I had to make some what's it called? Like I had to make some adjustments in the
Hmm.
contracts for this season, but luckily, I think I'm very happy that Dramis still agreed,
Hmm.
because he got like a slightly lower salary,
Hmm.
but that was so that we could so that I could secure
Hmm.
uh, the fact that we can go to trips this year, because there will be lands
Yeah.
absolutely, like aside from QuakeCon.
And I think kind of a lot. Like as I said, I think KeenCon is for sure. I think Quachi gonna do another one for sure. I don't know
Yeah.
if it's gonna be in Australia or in Europe, but I think more things gonna come up. So definitely, uh, talks will be interesting. Talks will be super interesting if he like will join your like org. It will be super good. And then maybe you will convince him to go on my podcast, but I doubt. I think nobody can convince him to do a podcast. Like talks is like I know him already for like 15 years, and it's super hard to get him to the interview or anything like that. It's like it's just
Oh
completely,
shit.
it's not
If you can't get him, then I don't think anyone
not
can.
not his style. But it will be
Yeah.
super cool. But what do you do like in your life? Like what is your like profession? What do you do in your life in general?
Yeah, I'm very open about this. I work as a mail carrier in here in
Hmm.
Sweden, so
Hmm.
that's what I do in that's my day job basically. That's what
Hmm.
helps me to finance everything. I also like I've made investments and stuff that also
Hmm.
help me. Uh, they've helped me a lot actually. And yeah, other than that, I'm kind of just like chilling at home most of the time. I like
Hmm.
reading a lot. As you can see behind me, I like reading. I like science fiction.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, I'm writing a book right now, so I'm writing a novel, which is like set to
Wow.
be finished in early summer or something. So
Hmm.
that's a big project for me right now, which takes energy and time.
Hmm.
And
Do
yeah,
you read any criminals? Cause like there is like Scandinavian criminals which are super good. Like for example, I'm in love with like whole series with Harry Hole and with Jon Esbo. Like I don't know if you are familiar with that like writer.
oh yeah, 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 yeah.
I'm reading it like non-stop, non-stop. Today I went and I bought like another one from like Jonesbo. It was like it's called Police. I don't know if it's the same titles in like Swedish or like in English, but it's called
Yeah.
Police, and it's like about some serial killer killing policemen. And I'm just in love with Swedish and Scandinavian like criminals, and there's much more than Jonesbo. So I'm just like reading them like one by one. So it's super
Oh,
good,
that's amazing.
super good.
I'm
Like.
happy to hear that. I'm happy to hear that you're reading. Like, it's something that I think is like a lot. Obviously, you and me are still, we're not the young generation. I mean,
Mhm.
I'm 24, but you're a bit older. But like
Much
the young
older.
generation,
Yeah,
huh?
much older.
Yeah, maybe. But the younger generation is like not reading as much. They actually they can they can read, but they can't like read a book.
Yeah.
They don't understand what the fuck they're
Yeah.
reading.
Yeah.
And I think reading is fantastic. It's like so much better than like
Hmm.
watching movies, playing games. Sometimes, obviously those things have a charm as well, but reading
Hmm.
a book is fantastic because it's basically just a bunch of text on a white page and
Hmm.
everything happens in your brain. And
Hmm.
I think it's fantastic.
That's why I never like read ebooks or like I'm never
Yeah.
reading on a notepad. I just enjoy like this time like me myself and the book and like the surroundings. I also like to like read it like somewhere outside or in some nice place. I just like to sit in some comfortable place and read the book or before sleeping. I think it also like makes your brain like work like faster and it pushes your brain to think and like it also like develop your like imagination and it kind of if you read in your own language you kind of learn how to speak like more beautiful in that language and you learn some new words all the time you learn something during like reading and I think it's super cool so like but I also not I'm also not reading like as many books as some people because I'm also following some vloggers like on YouTube like who are like describing books and everything. So I'm into books really much, but like still like maybe I'm like reading 12 to 15 books per year, something like that. So like
That's a lot
one
actually.
one book per month is like or two books per month is like average, but usually it's something like kind of big, you know. So it's
Yeah.
super. So what is your favorite fantasy book?
Fantasy, I don't know. I haven't read much fantasy, but like science fiction.
Ah, science fiction is it? Yeah, science fiction.
Uh, my favorite science fiction book is Roadside Picnic by
Hmm.
Arkady and Boris Strugatsky. It's like old
Hmm.
Soviet science
Yeah,
fiction. It's really old. It was like written in the 60s or
yeah.
70s. Uh, I don't know. There's something about because I like their style of writing because it's basically it's almost not like science fiction. It's
Hmm.
almost like normal for us now, you know.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
it's like at that point it was like kind of science fiction
Hmm.
when they were writing it. And it leaves. I think they have a unique way of writing. They leave a lot
Hmm.
up to the viewer, to the reader. I mean, like
Hmm.
a lot of it happens in your head, and that's why I just love them. It's like they're my
So,
favorite,
if you
absolutely.
are into like modern science fiction books, like you might also like some utopia things, like for example, Corwell, like
Yeah,
1994 or something like that. That's a great book, and
yeah.
it's not it's hard to like put it in like science fiction like a category, but like Corwell is more like you know I don't know
Dys-
something like that. It's a,
dystopian, maybe.
yeah,
Yeah,
dystopia,
yeah,
utopia, yeah, however it's called in English, I don't know.
yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I think that's all I wanted to like talk with you. I'm just thinking. Ah, yeah, QPL. So like, did you what would you like to see? Like, would you like to see something different with QPL? Maybe like switching formats or like doing something because you know what I miss? I miss a lot like 2021 and like three stages or like four
Yeah.
stages. So we had like 12 weeks of playing and then you had a like final and then again and like it kind of brings like this hype, you know, between like stages. Like I love that. I completely love that. Like I don't know, how do you feel?
It's hard for me because I don't play myself, obviously, so
Hmm.
I don't play anything. But I think from a viewer perspective, I definitely agree with you.
Hmm.
I think an 8-month season is a bit too long.
Hmm.
Uh, it would be better to have stages, but I mean, QPL is it's still fantastic that we have it and that it's there. It's like it's like really good for the
Hmm.
competitive integrity of Quake, and like I think everyone is really thankful for it. But yeah, absolutely, I do think that 4 stages would absolutely make it more hyped. Yeah, obviously it would be nice to have like 3 lands as well, but that's like hard to do, But
Yeah.
something like that, and also maybe something that I think a bit more like background to the players, maybe
Hmm.
like more maybe making an interview with the players
Hmm.
because they're doing that for the lands, but it would
Hmm.
be nice to actually do it like online as well. Uh,
You know what would be super good? I was thinking about it. Like they could. I wanted to say they could send like a team which gonna record like everything, but you can hire someone. For example, if you want to do a day with me, for example, they can hire some team from Poland who is already here, and they're gonna
Yeah.
record the whole day with me, like, and then that's how you get to know like players, like what they are doing since they wake up. Like if they like sit to the PC straight away, they practice or they go to work or they like do some hobby or they investing like whole day with the player. If we would have that, I think it would be super good. Like for example, 1 hour episode and you see what the guy is doing, how he's waking up, how he's taking shower, everything completely. I think that's kind of
Yeah.
invading to your life, and some people would enjoy that too much. Hello talks, but that would be super good for like people like maybe on the side of a Twitch like having like YouTube channel. I know QPL has a YouTube channel where they upload in the games like every week, but maybe doing something like some other content than that. That would be cool as well, as you said.
Yeah, it would be nice because it would bring more depth to the players, which is I think
Hmm.
what we need. I think in Counter Strike they did something like that. Like prior to the majors, they uploaded these videos. It was like 20-minute videos or something that
Hmm.
where they made an interview with all of these legends and like they talked about how they started playing and you could like you would talk to their mother and like she would talk about when he was 5 years old he started playing and like it gave so much depth to the person. I also like your idea, but like
Hmm.
it's like you say, I don't know how many people would actually agree on that. Have
Hmm.
someone follow them for a whole day, but it's a
Well,
great
you could
initiative.
actually implement it in contract. Like quick players never read contracts, so they will sign it
Yeah,
anyway, and they have the team like coming to their house. But I think they are just not doing that, like the Bethesda stuff, because like they care about quality probably, like because there's like some people also like investing, like they care about quality. So if they're gonna hire some random team in Poland, like they might come to my place and not really do the good job, or the quality is bad or something like that, and maybe they are scared they're gonna like lose money on that, and they only
yeah.
like have like PGL or like other companies like doing those like interviews like before tournaments and stuff. Anyway, Defense, was a pleasure for me to have you on the podcast. I know you are doing your podcasts with players as well, something similar to what I am doing. So if you guys like didn't check out, just make sure to check out what Defense did already, because he did already bunch of cool podcasts, and I think usually they are even longer than mine podcasts, because I've seen some like which are like over an hour, I think.
2 hours, 2 hours.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think the one with Razy was quite like long from
it
what
was 2 hours.
yeah.
The longest is with Maxtra. I think it's 2 and 14.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, so if you guys didn't see that, just like make sure to join like the channel of Defense, and watch some podcasts there. It's like always good. Like for example, I'm usually when I'm going to gym or like I'm on cardio or I'm on the bike, I also like to walk a lot. Like I'm going to forest. Like at the moment I got a young dog, so I got a company, but I'm usually listening to some podcasts or something like that. So it's if you guys want, just like jump on the channel and check it out. And thank you a lot for coming in. I think it was like super interesting to see your perspective. Like how do you see Quake from like a organization point of view? So thank you a lot.
thank you, thank you.